Welcome to the first episode of I'm Still Figuring Out the Title. It's kind of got a working title of Ordinarily Extraordinary, something like that. Basically, my goal of doing these interviews is to talk to people who are just they're ordinary people, but they're doing really awesome things, and they're seeing great success in their life. And success not necessarily monetary, but they're achieving the goals that they want to achieve and pursuing things that they're passionate about. So, standing across from me is this handsome gentleman. His name is Nolan Gouveia. Nolan, why don't you just give us a little background, a little snippet of who you are and why I would want to talk to you.
Cool. Wow. First of all, start off the bat here. I'm a business owner. I've started and owned about 5 companies now. I've owned anything from nutrition stores to started an app a while ago. I currently own a CrossFit gym, and I also own a business consulting firm. I also really like to do CrossFit. I like to work out. I like to play sports. I've always played sports. I like to compete in anything. So that's pretty much it. I like the Denver Broncos.
There we go. Go Broncos. It's our year. Sweet. Thanks, dude. That is perfect because you kind of set up everything I kind of want to talk about and hit on. First of all, you mentioned you're a business owner, and you've used the term and call yourself a serial entrepreneur. Not that you like General Mills, but that you are constantly starting businesses.
Yeah.
And so it's my understanding that you entered into the business space at a very young age. I think younger than most business owners would consider pursuing business. And now tell me about that process. Like, how old were you when you opened up? It was NutriShop, right?
Right, yeah.
That's your first one. So tell me a little bit about that experience at a young age, what that process was like, why you even started it, open that up for me a little bit.
Cool, yeah. So from a young age, I knew that I wanted to be the boss. Like, that's pretty much it. I really, I like to either go all or nothing. So like if something happens, I either like it to, let's just say like I have a success, cool, I want it to all be because I work really, really hard and so like I get that success. If it fails too, I like to be in charge of that because then I know if it failed or whatever it may be, that means that I didn't put enough work into it or I did something and I need to learn from that and continue to grow. So it was tough for me to be an employee because quite honestly, anytime that I was an employee, I would just see things being done incorrectly in ways that I would like to improve, but I wasn't being incentivized to improve. I was even sometimes being told not to work so hard or whatever because they didn't want to pay that much or because, like a quick story, like when I first was a personal trainer, I'm not going to name names, but some large gym told me to actually slow down on getting people results because they wanted these people to have a longer time paying a personal trainer. So they literally sat me down and said, like, you need to stop getting people results in 6 months and we need to try to let's try to move this out to like 12 months. So that didn't sit well with me. I didn't stay there very long. My goal's always been to help people. But anyway, back to your question. You asked how old I was. So when I first started my first business, I was 19. I think I was going on 20. I may have even been 20. It was somewhere around there. I was a junior in college at CBU. And I was a manager at a NutriShop, and I really, really liked it, loved the business, but what I saw was that I could do things a little bit better than the owner was doing it. Yeah. And not that he was doing anything wrong, he just had his head in other things. Like he had a couple other businesses. This one was kind of like a pet project for him. So one day I told him, hey, can I buy this from you? And it was pretty crazy because I was getting married like the next year, and so I already had like some debt in other places, and so picking up another $150,000, $200,000 worth of debt was probably not the best move right when I was getting married. But I just bet on myself. I bet the fact that like not only did I know that I could succeed in whatever I really, really tried hard in, but I had done my research. For 4 or 5 years, I was in that industry. Yeah. I was a manager of a NutriShop. I did all the jobs in NutriShop leading up to becoming a manager. Right. And so I just knew like, okay, like okay, if it's just money, like let me figure out how I can get some money and then I can figure this thing out. And so I worked out a creative, strategic way to be able to find that amount of money, because I don't know if you know, but at 19 or 20 years old, business banks and banks in general are not looking to hand out a couple $100,000 to a non-established kid, basically.
Right. It's probably low likelihood of that actually happening.
Yeah, and I did go into many banks with my portfolio, and very quickly they said, there's no reason why we're going to give you this money. You've done really nothing other than some part-time jobs and different things like that, so no.
Yeah.
So figured that out, got into a lot of debt in a good way in my opinion, but I had to basically put myself in a position where if I fail, then I fail, but if I succeed, then I succeed. And so I started that right as we were getting married, right as I was like in my last year of college, and yeah, that's where I started.
Dang, so you went like full on, like sink or swim, like this has to work.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, it's gonna not only be your livelihood, but also the wife you're gonna be responsible for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting start, but I wouldn't do it any other way because it made me hustle, and not just hustle in like the cool way that everybody says, like, "Hey man, grind."
Yeah.
It's like no, like you have to work. And if there was time where it was like I could sit down here and kind of like watch TV, or I could put in a little bit of work and get a couple customers and figure out a new strategy, that's what I had to do at that point because I had people counting on me. So it was a much better atmosphere to put yourself in. If you think you have it made, that's when you're probably starting to fail.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really dangerous to like just kind of coast through it, and the pressure that you kind of put on yourself was a necessary evil in a way to allow you to push you to probably new heights and new thresholds that you didn't think you may have otherwise if you're kind of apathetic about it. So that's really rad. Do me a favor, because technical thing, just pull the headphones down around a little bit lower. Yeah. So when you're doing a video shoot and interviewing people, make sure you bring the lavalier mics so that we don't have to use these Apple headphones. But we are making it work because that's what we do.
At least it looks cool.
Yeah, right. It's Apple, so at least it's got some aesthetics.
Hey.
So you talked about the challenge of getting funded for this thing. What are some other obstacles as you began stepping out as a young 20-something, getting married? That's a lot already going on.
Yeah.
What were some other challenges as a business owner that you faced early on with the NutriShops?
Yeah, for sure. So some challenges with NutriShop in general was just the fact that I was so young, and so I had to make sure that I put off a professional vibe because obviously I looked a lot younger than what a lot of people would think as the owner. And a lot of times people would come in and they'd be like, "Where's the owner? Can I speak with him for a little bit?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, hold on a second. Hi, it's me." So yeah, I mean, and I had to roll with that. And as soon as people started to hear me speak, or like I got to show them that I do have the knowledge on the subject, that went to the back of their mind. They didn't even think about it again. But I had to get over that as well, where I knew that possibly people were thinking this. I had to kind of throw that to the side and just go out and do what I knew what to do, and just make it happen.
Yeah, dang, that's crazy, because I think about the clientele base, because I frequented your shop back in the day.
Yeah.
So I've been giving you money for a while, so you're welcome.
Thank you.
But my crowd, my 20-something-year-old, me and the homies, we'd go in, we'd get our protein, we'd get our, whatever, our insane, so we get the pump.
Yep.
We'd get all those things. But then you have, beyond like the 20-something-year-old, you have the parent who's coming in for their kid. You've got the 50-something-year-old who's just trying to get healthier, and he found you online or drove by you because he was getting flame broiler for lunch, like whatever the case may have been.
Right.
So you were dealing with a broad audience with very different goals, and so I think that's one thing I didn't think through as you being such a young business owner. The challenge is that just even interacting day to day. I was thinking big, broad, like, oh well, we had this crazy break-in, or like something crazy went wrong. We lost a shipment. Like those are the things I thought through that may have been obstacles, but just the interpersonal relationships that you had to build with people of such a broad demographic. That's really interesting, and kind of like something you don't quite think about when thinking business challenges. Is just appealing to a broad audience, because not everybody. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Everyone's got a different vibe, and you've got to be able to kind of work with a variety of people in business.
Yeah,
that's really rad. So
that's true. And another thing too, that kind of when you're talking about like a broad audience and all that, starting out, like I knew NutriShop, I knew supplements, I knew sports, I knew working out, I knew all of those things, but learning business, like literally like, you know, a hard knocks business, I had to learn that as I went. Like I was taking, I do have my degree in marketing from CBU, and so I was leaning on that a little bit, but just learning the actual pieces of business. One of the biggest things for me that I didn't do very well was like online, you know, like online, I thought like, whatever, like people will check my Instagram and they know that I work here and they know that I own this, so maybe they'll come in. And I just kind of thought like, okay, people know who I am out here, so they'll walk in the door, or when they do walk in the door, I was very good with customer service and keeping a customer. But finding those new customers was really tough because I didn't really have like a presence online at all. My website really wouldn't pop up on like the first page or anything like that. I wouldn't. My Instagram wasn't great. I don't think Instagram was even a big thing back then, but my Facebook wasn't very professional. There's just like, and I didn't understand that things linked together.
And that's you bring up an interesting point that maybe I'll just get into it now. That's such a big deal, is online presence. And so what a lot of business owners don't understand, and you hit it on the head, you know, in your personal experience, is that that's a make or break thing for a lot of people. I'm gonna say the M word, the millennials. I know me as a millennial, I look at the way a business presents itself, and that's a deal breaker for me. If it looks like it's from 1995 and it ran on Windows like Millennium Edition, then like, I don't know, man. Like, if you're not up to speed with what's going on, I've kind of lost interest. You don't have anything other than your product to offer me, and that's kind of what businesses have to offer. They have to offer something beyond just their product or service. You know, I can think of YouTubers and vloggers. They've put out content, but they also give out tutorials. But then they also have these preset packs for editing photos, or these different little things they've created that I buy because of the free things that they give me. We just lost the wide camera, fun. So all that to say is that presence online and the offering beyond what you're selling is huge these days, and you have to be inviting. I've kind of got this concept of like the digital front porch, if you will, and how if your front porch, when people approach your business, isn't tidy and well kept and maintained, I'm not going to want to go in. I'm not going to want to be entertained, or I'm not going to want to give you my time, my money, my resources, if it's not well kept. So presenting your best foot forward is make or break for a lot of businesses, and they don't realize that. The smaller businesses who are maybe in the 6-7 figures annually, they just kind of do what they've always done. I won't go there. My employer is kind of that way. I work a regular 9 to 5, and it's just like they do what they've done, and you can only take that so far. And so having a good digital presence is super important, and that's something that I highly value as a consumer, but also as a creative, someone who creates content, as a hobby. I look for that, and so I'm trying to enter into that space right now, and shifting, some of my focus in helping businesses do that. And just friends who have their side hustles. It's like, hey, have you thought about getting on Yelp? Hey, what does your Yelp look like? Hey, where's your website? You don't have a website? Let's get you a website so that way people can find you. Because the more branches you spread out across the internet, the more likely people are able to find you. And so taking advantage of every opportunity to put those online, and so if you got something as a blog is a great way to do that, and creating content for things that people who are buying your product might be thinking about. So you run a CrossFit gym. We just did a Q&A here. I'm a member here at Crossfit Kindle, and I threw out a question. I won't tell you which one, you can probably guess. But that is beneficial to have information beyond what they get here. If you present to them, here's 3 tips for dieting through the holidays. We came out of New Year's and the Christmas season, and that kind of content will help drive people, not only your members, but people outside of your gym, to your website and then connect with your brand and see what you're about. So, you can have the best product in the world, but if you don't have a presence online that speaks to that brand and that product, then no one's going to pay attention to you. And that's really hard. And that's creating a challenge that's unnecessary for people. It's so easy to get a website. It's so easy to Instagram. If you need help with your Instagram, if you need help with your website, there are people like me who are out there. There's me who is out there, who is ready and willing to help businesses present themselves in the best way to make them appeal to a broad audience. And that's crazy. And that's, I think, back then, 2009, Instagram wasn't what it was. So I think being on there was good for a business, but for you, it's just now it's expected as a business owner. Like, if you don't have that, like, what do you do? Yeah, it's a free thing. And so I think if you want to speak to some of those, some more recent challenges that you've seen too in CrossFit Kindle, and because you went from a NutriShop and then you came to CrossFit Kindle, started it out as a different brand, but now you're getting ready to celebrate your 6th year as a business owner of CrossFit Kindle. Like, what are some of the things that you were dealing with presently and even into the future of the gym?
So like presently it's just a whole different spin. Like, it's super cool where we're at now. Because when you're starting out a business, it's all about like getting people in the door, showing people, kind of like what we were talking about, like having that like nice solid front porch, right? And so online is going to be huge because people need to see that and understand like this place looks legit, first of all. But then actually having a nice front porch when you walk in the door, right? Like, it needs to look the same as it does online, or whatever you're trying to make it look like. Make sure that it all connects and it looks good. And so that's what we did. We started in a smaller gym than we are now, and it was all about getting people in the door. Now, though, we're in a cool place where we're in a larger facility now, and we have a good solid base of people. And of course, every business, like, you need to grow, right? But our growth model is more like organic and trying to grow 1 or 2 people a month rather than like trying to grab in 10 people and get them in as quick as possible. And so my wife is very, very good at cultivating culture, and that's what's making us successful. And it's awesome to watch her work because she just has such a cool mind for this and such a cool like ideas and different things that make this place feel like a family. And it's awesome because the things that I do and the things that I'm good at are like the typical CrossFit stuff, like weightlifting and programming and those types of things that you need to have to be a CrossFit gym. But there's a CrossFit gym in every corner, it seems like. So we need something that's going to differentiate us a lot. And that's what Jen does. And she just comes up with cool ideas for the members to do and to feel like a community. And every single time somebody new comes in, they always say, wow, what's different about this place? It just feels like everybody's so nice. Like, why is everybody so nice to me? And that's what Jen's really built, and I'm just super proud of her. But that's what we're focusing on right now is keeping the people we have, keeping everybody happy. And then if people do want to join us, cool. We're not going to change our culture and anything for anybody else. We are who we are, which is a nice, loving, happy family. And if you like that, then come work out with us.
And I could speak to that in a huge way because I've been a member for, I think I'm coming up on my 4th CrossFit anniversary. I think I've been with you guys for about 4 years. And it's programming, like, you're gonna die. Like, it's hard work. CrossFit is hard work. So sorry, dude. The programming doesn't keep me coming back. I like the workouts. I've gotten stronger. But quite honestly, when Sarah and I moved, my wife Sarah and I, we moved to Pomona a year and a half ago, and we kept our membership because I knew I could drive the entire 60 freeway from Pomona to Riverside, and I wouldn't find a gym that offered the culture. Like, you're right, and it's crazy because it seems like the type of people that are attracted here are the type of people that fit in with that vibe. The whole, what is it, your vibe attracts your tribe, that little grimy thing. It's there, that cliche is there for a reason, because people who like what you're about and dig the culture, they themselves hold those values as well. And those who hold those values stick with you. And I think it's really easy. You don't have to create loyalty programs because your culture has created loyalty. And I think that's the other thing a lot of these businesses are missing out on, are the culture, like how important that is. Because if you allow the culture to set itself, like, it's just going to do that. It's going to default by the attitudes and the perspectives and all the things that people have, and you throw this hodgepodge together, and then out comes your culture. But if you are intentional about it and create it versus letting it just by default like come to fruition, I think that's something important that people have to think through, and even like analyzing and assessing what they value and seeing, you know, what businesses they want to, you know, commit with and, you know, give their hard-earned money to. And so I think that's great that you guys have been so intentional about it, and it shows because you know, your growth, you see new people come in, but it's not there. It's not like there's oddball people where, oh, we have our few, but we love them. We might cut that out.
I mean, it's a family.
But yeah, and it's true. Like, I mean, even today we were planning like what Marvel movies are we going to watch, and like, you know, we're stoked about Captain Marvel and all the things that are coming out with that. And, like, we have this group of friends that it's not a matter of, you know, okay, well, who are we going to hang out with? It's like, well, what amount of people from that group of friends is going to be together? Like, it's really rad. Like, I have friends that can be, you know, potential lifelong friends, and they created deep relationships because of CrossFit, because what you and Jen have done here, you know, it's remarkable, and I think that's a big differentiation between what you guys offer and what other gyms offer. Like you said, I can go get a workout anywhere.
Right.
I can go to the park and get a workout, but that sucks. It's boring. But like, you work out with friends, and you have that extra vigor, that extra energy, and that community that is built through suffering is kind of unique. So that's what's really rad about what you guys are doing here.
Cool, man. Well, that's super awesome to hear, because that's always been our dream. That's always been the thing that we've just thought about. And that's, you hit on something very, very well, that it's intentional. And any business owners who think they're going to start up a business and things are just going to happen, it's exactly what you said. Like, things are going to happen, but it's not going to be what your vision is. You're just going to kind of like take what you can get. Right. And we had to make some tough decisions. We've had to do things like ask certain people to leave that were doing things that were against what we were all about. Like, we have actual values, and like this gym, there's not any cussing. There's, even in our music, like, we censor the music. And so, like, if people are here and it's just a new person, they're going to come in, they're going to be super negative to a point where it's bringing everybody else down and just be cussing or whatever. Like, we have, it's very much like a family-style gym. And so we're going to protect our family. And that's exactly what Jen does really, really well. And she takes it to heart that this is her family. This is a family, and so she's going to protect them. And I don't think a lot of people see that or know that about her. They just know that this place is awesome and they love coming back. But she's the one that does all the work to make it the place that they really like.
Well, if they didn't know, now you know. That's why CrossFit Kindle is awesome. It's not because of Nolan, it's because of Jen. I figured.
That is true.
Let's see, let's go. I want to get through some other things with you here. So, education. That's boring. Maybe not. Dude, I just totally put like a stop on this. Well, this was fun. All right, guys, that's it for today. No, so you're accomplished enough, not just business, but also athletics, and that was a big drive. You know, I got to see a lot of the journey, just kind of as a spectator on the outside, and being a member here. And I don't want to discredit that. That is a big part of who you are, and I'm sure it's influenced how you approach business. So, where do you see the marriage between the way you approached, you know, getting to regionals in 2017? Like, that's like freaking crazy, dude. Like, the top 40 in California, like, that's a big freaking accomplishment. And so I don't want to like skate over that, because that, I think, also defined a lot of who you are today in that experience. So you want to kind of connect those two with business and athletics, and kind of just your approach to those two things.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've always been a competitor, you know, whether it be soccer or football or MMA back in the day, or CrossFit now. It's always been about competition. It's always been about winning, to be honest. Like, I'm not somebody who agrees with everybody gets a trophy. Like, that's just not the way that I roll. I think that, like, the people who work the hardest and do the most or win, like, they should have something for their accomplishment. And the people who didn't, it's not that they're bad or dumb or stupid or whatever. It's just that, hey, like, let's not give them something let's make them think like, okay, I want to be hungrier, and next time I'm going to work harder and get there.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it was for me in CrossFit. Like when I started this CrossFit thing, the first year the Open came around, I was like, okay, cool, I'm just going to win this real quick, and then I'm going to go to regionals. And I got like, I don't know, 1,000th or something in California, and it just like hit me, and I was just like, dang, like, okay, I need to actually work at this. I'm not just going to like get handed something.
Right.
And so I did. I worked very, very hard. Lots of hours that people were not inside the gym watching me. I worked with different coaches. I worked on gymnastics, like something I just never thought of ever doing in my life. Like things like that, because those were my weaknesses. And when you find a weakness, you need to exploit it, and you need to work on it. You need to work hard on those things. And so worked very, very hard on that, and then eventually I did make it to regionals, and that was awesome, super awesome. One of the coolest things I've ever done, one of the best times ever. Lots of support from the people at CrossFit Kindle, which was like crazy. They came together and helped pay for some of the stuff, because CrossFit doesn't do a great job helping out the athletes when they actually make it. You still have to pay a lot of money just to go. But it was so awesome to watch this family that came alongside Jen and I and just gave us some money to make this actually happen, and that was super cool. But I did get hurt at regionals. Tore my chest, and that was unfortunate. But it gave me a good amount of time to reflect and to just kind of see like, okay, this has been like a super awesome thing, but it's not everything. And I learned so much, and I love the sport of CrossFit. I love doing CrossFit, but I may have been putting a little too many eggs in that basket for a little while, and it was almost like a blessing in disguise to get hurt, and then some of the changes that happened with CrossFit. It was really a blessing in disguise to take a step back from that and start like figuring out my priorities, put a little bit more time into family, things with Jen, things like that, into business, into starting this new business that I started. And I just think the cool thing, though, to circle back with everything that you just asked about, with athletics and business, they just tie together so well.
There's definitely some parallels.
And it's just, the biggest thing I can think of is that I needed to work on my weaknesses and turn those into strengths for CrossFit. So same thing with business. Certain things have been weaknesses for sure, or even failures, and I saw that, and I worked on those things, and turning those into strengths are some of the things that kind of made me the best at what I do right now.
Nobody wants to like talk about their weaknesses, and we beat this horse, dead and buried already, but the social media thing, like everybody puts the highlight reel out there, and nobody wants to talk about the failures, but the failure is a part of the journey, and to shy away from the things you're weakest at only makes you weaker. I think, and just that's what CrossFit has taught me. Being a CrossFit just an athlete, in the gym, is when you stick at the things you do well, like one, that gets kind of boring because you're not challenged, but two, like you're missing out on new opportunities for new strengths, and that's what I think I appreciate about the experience in CrossFit is you do things you would have never imagined. Like I'm looking at the ropes off camera, like I can climb that rope confidently now. I've done handstand push-ups, and I was never a kid doing handstand push-ups. There's so many crazy things. I'm stronger than I've ever been, and it's really, really rad. Like I've got a sub 7-minute mile. I was 5 foot, 150 pounds, super chubby in junior high. My best mile time was 12 minutes. Like I'm 30 now, and I'm beating my younger self. Like that's really rad. And so I think being able to lean into those weaknesses, as uncomfortable as they are, in both CrossFit and in business and in life, only makes you a better person overall. And I think that's embracing that the discomfort. Shameless plug, I have a video about discomfort, actually after a CrossFit workout, so check that out at the top in the card.
That's good.
So that's rad. And you touched on and started talking about your new venture. You've got a new thing that you got kind of stirring, you're working on, you're grinding hard after it. Tell me a little bit about that. That sounds really cool. So I want to hear what's going on with Nolan.
Yeah, definitely. So I'd already been working with businesses kind of off to the side. I'm a professor at Cal Baptist University, and so I teach business, I teach entrepreneurship, I teach marketing, I teach strategy, and oftentimes after class, students would come after and talk to me a little bit and say, this is what's going on in my business, or where they work, and we just come up with a plan, and then they'd go.
All right, guys, real quick. Some snafus, some little shenanigans happened while filming yesterday with Nolan. One, I forgot the lav mics. Two, I didn't have my audio recording, so it's gonna get a little weird right now. And three, I didn't realize that there was a time limit on how long my cameras will record, so you will no longer have video from this point on. You can go to the video, you can go to the audio version, click down below, I'll link to that. Hopefully it's as smooth as I think it's gonna be getting that done, but you live and you learn. This wasn't perfect. I was kind of frustrated editing, but we're still gonna put it out and we're gonna make it better for next time around with the next guest. So thanks for watching. And here comes only audio, but don't worry, we're still gonna put a little still photo from the video earlier on. Thanks.
And we'd just come up with a plan, and then they'd go out and they'd implement that plan and then let me know that it was super cool and that it worked. And so I found a love for hearing people's problems in business and finding a strategy based off of all the different things that I've done and helping them implement that strategy and watching it work. So I have a true passion in helping people, and moreover just helping the actual business grow. So I started a business consulting firm called Delta Business Consulting.
Nice.
And the cool thing about it is that it highlights my strengths. My strengths are strategy, business, marketing overall, understanding brand strategy, all of those types of things. But the very cool thing that I decided to do was pull in some subject matter experts that are very good at things that I'm not good at. Kind of what we were talking about before, weaknesses and things like that. I am not the graphic design guy. I'm not the camera guy. I'm not the IT guy. I'm not these types of things. But I have lots of friends and people who I trust very much who are very good. Like you are very good at a lot of different things, especially figuring out kind of like that digital front porch, right? Like you're very good at that. So I'm going to work with you in the future.
Thank you.
But all that to say that it's a cool business model because I can go in confidently to any business anywhere and know that I can help them with their problem. Right? And so like sometimes these business owners, they don't even know what the actual problem is. The other day I had somebody say, hey, can you come fix my social media? Can you help and very specifically, can you help get more likes and engagement on my Instagram? And so I said, like, yeah, I can definitely do that because I know that I can and I have people that can help me. But I said, let's just sit down for 30 minutes and let's talk about like what the problem is. Like, what is it exactly? Because at the end of the day, a business owner doesn't care about getting likes on a picture. Like, that's not the actual problem. That may be a piece of the problem, but that's not like, it's not driving sales. It's not driving, like, what is it exactly? And so we figured out actually at the end of this that it was actually that their efficiency in their employees was down. It was pretty crazy. It was like they had given the job to the employees to do their social media when they had time. But what they were doing was not monitoring what the employees were doing, and at the end of the day, the employee didn't have time, so they just couldn't do it. They weren't going to pay them more to figure this out. So we got their efficiency super high, and now not only are they making more money, but everything is firing on all cylinders. So without figuring out that problem, all I would have done is go in and say, yeah, cool, I can like make cooler pictures. I can market it with some cool captions and things that I know what to do and what people like, but that wouldn't have solved anything. Their employees still would have been inefficient and they would have lost money in the long run.
And that's crazy how you think like, and it just kind of the theme is connecting back to CrossFit, but you think like, oh, I've got this weakness or this thing isn't working right, but then you start working with somebody. I'm going to plug Monica with Dynamic Mobility Massage out here in Riverside. They are in CrossFit Kindle. But I went in, I was like, I got this thing in my knee, like, and it's this, and this. She's like, well, it's probably your calves. And she's like, because this is connected here, and this does this, and this is all working together to cause this pain and this problem that you're having. I was like, oh, so it's not my knee. It's like my calves. And it's crazy because like she worked on my calves and like my knees stopped like cracking as bad. My feet started feeling better, like all this stuff just because the pain point wasn't where the source of pain was, though. It's kind of just this interesting thing that the body does. And so that this experience with businesses, and I wonder how many other problems that exist out there in business where people think, man, the culture sucks. So it's like, well, maybe the culture doesn't suck. Maybe you suck. Maybe you're a bad boss. Like, let's start there.
Yeah, you never know.
All these things that you think are the problem, but the solution is just very, very different. So that's crazy that you were able to expose this efficiency issue, which is, I think, a bigger problem.
Way bigger.
Than getting likes. Likes maybe feed the ego of the person posting it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that doesn't translate into sales and dollars, which,
right.
Business, we want, people matter, but to stay in business, you need money.
Yeah.
That's a reality. And so, sorry if you like people over profit, but, you got to have some profits to keep the lights on. So,
you do.
If you can, that's crazy. I wonder what other things you'll come across. Like, has there been anything else that you've thought or expected as you entered a meeting and have it just kind of turn the other way in your experiences?
One of the bigger things that I'm seeing is that people just don't know what they don't know. And we know that, right? I think if you really think about it, I guess that's true. You don't really know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But it's these companies, I'm talking big companies, but I'm not going to say names, but big companies, they have big marketing budgets, big, super big, and they're with it. The CEO of this company was, I think he's 45, definitely not old in any way, right? Yeah. But they're spending literally almost 100% of their budget on Google AdWords only. Google AdWords, and that's it, right? Yeah. No matter who you are, I think you know that there are people on a lot of different platforms. So at the very least, put some money into some other places if you have the money.
Yeah,
let's say you have $20,000, put $5,000 into Google AdWords, but let's put some money into Facebook, let's put some money into Instagram, maybe even Yelp, depending on the type of business they are.
Yeah.
Let's get more views in more places because that's where your people are.
Yeah.
If you put all of your eggs in one basket, no matter what business you are, I know Google encompasses a lot, and so it is very important, but this day and age, everyone is on their phone and they're doing this, right? What does that mean? That means they're on Facebook, that means they're on Instagram, right? So we need to put something in front of their eyes in some way, but they just don't know how to do it. Yeah. And it's tough. It's very, very tough. They have 100 things going on, so it's tough to figure that out.
Right.
But that's what we come in and help with, and just let them know, we give them facts. We don't just, I pride myself and our business on this, that I won't ever come in and just say what I think. I don't have a bias.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, I do have a bias in my head, I keep that to a very, very minimum, and I talk about, here, let me show you data. This is where your customers are. Right. This is how many customers we're reaching. This is how many customers opened your thing. This is how many people clicked on your thing. That right there is what I'm trying to show. I'm not trying to be sneaky. There's enough sneaky out there.
Yeah.
I'm saying, here, let me help you, and this is how, and here, we'll, every step of the way, watch it. Yeah. So it's just interesting to see there's companies that are very successful doing things that maybe they're working at 25% of their capacity. They could work 100%, and they could be way more successful. So that's what I like doing. I like finding that.
Yeah, that's cool. As you were talking too, I was thinking just how, because you talked about the time dedicated to all of these things. You essentially need to have a full-time employee monitoring your social media. And not every business has the bandwidth or the budget to afford a salary, benefits, 401k, and any other things to pay to the government and all this stuff that goes on in employing one person.
Right.
So that's what's beautiful, I think, about your business model. And previous conversations we've had is just you can cut that budget in half or even more so. Say, hey, we're going to deliver quality and we're going to help you out and build this, but you don't have to pay somebody $80,000 a year, which is probably the minimum salary for someone.
Yeah.
And it's not just going to take just one person. You're going to need the manager, the content creator, you're going to need so many other things, the customer support for the internet, all these things that are happening that are necessary. One of the companies I used to work for, I think we had 8 people on social media. We had people monitoring Twitter, monitoring Facebook, monitoring Instagram, responding to comments,
wow.
Doing the analytics for that, creating the content for it. And then there was a video team to create. So all this stuff, I was like, that's probably a good $500,000, if not more, in paying these people annually.
Yeah.
Versus where you come in and you contract with these people and you say, hey, here's what you could spend, here's what you're gonna spend, and you're gonna get just as good results.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool. And I think if you're a business watching this, some miracle, and it's not just my mom, then hit up Nolan, because I think where he's headed is a game changer. It's got, you coined it like the Uber model earlier in our conversation before we filmed, and I think that's spot on. It's like, oh, you need this thing. Oh, you need this thing. It's very like got this a la carte. Like, let's meet your needs. Here's here's somebody who can handle this scale. Here's this guy who can handle that. And you've got such a variety of network. It's so cool to watch where this is going to go.
Cool.
And so I'm stoked to be a part of it. In whatever capacity I can, and just connecting with more people and getting them started. So I don't know, man. I think I've reached the end of my notepad.
Cool.
Let's finish it out with something fun, lighthearted. Lightning round.
Lightning round.
Cue the sound effects.
Okay.
Just quick, fun questions. I've got, 8 of them here, so I'll just fire them off.
Wow.
First reaction answer.
All right.
How many hours of sleep do you get a night?
Sleep, I'm very, very big on. So at least 8.
At least 8. Okay.
Always. Like sometimes 10. I'm big on it. So if I have a project due or something, I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to wake up refreshed and I'm going to work on it. I'm not going to stay up all night doing it.
So you're not going to have like both ends of the candle burning and all that. Okay, very good.
Huge on that.
Health is important.
Yeah.
You can't think on 3 hours sleep, people. It just doesn't work. Do you have a morning routine? So you've slept, you get up. Are you like a very strict routine person, or are you kind of just like, let's get up and go?
Yeah, it's interesting because my mornings are different. So if I have to be at the gym at 5 in the morning and I have to wake up at like 4 in the morning to figure that out, it looks a little different than if I have a little bit of time in the morning.
Yeah.
But most case, literally every day I'll eat breakfast, no matter what. Like if I have to wake up earlier to eat breakfast, I eat breakfast. So I'll always sleep, always eat breakfast.
Very important.
But depending on the day, if I have a little bit longer of time, I'll do like my devotional early in the morning. If not, I'll do it in the middle of the day, something like that. Okay. So I do that in the morning for the most part. And then the biggest thing, huge thing, here comes a secret for everybody out there.
Secret to success.
Don't look at your phone or email or text message or anything before like 7 or 8 a.m. That's huge for me. So like I used to wake up 4:30 in the morning, whatever it may be, and I would just see like texts or emails or whatever, and I would look at them and I'd just start responding or start like thinking about that. Yeah. And then I would be behind all day, but I didn't figure out why. So at like 7 p.m., I would just feel so drained because I started so early that I was just mentally overloaded. Dang. And so when I started cutting that out, I forgot who said that. I think it was Ben Bergeron, but I don't know what it is. I know my wife definitely helped me with that one also. But yeah, huge thing that I do in the mornings now. It's helped out a lot.
Life hack.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Okay, because I can't resist a Marvel-related question. During Captain America Civil War, were you Team Cap or Team Iron Man? Or were you just who cares?
Kind of, honestly, who cares? I like both of them, and I like Iron Man's personality better.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I kind of just... When I watch a movie, I just let it like tell me what's going to happen. Sorry. Who are you? What about you?
Dude, those two of my favorite Marvel characters, and it was really hard. It's like picking your favorite child. Like,
wow.
It's impossible. I don't have kids, but I'm sure it's really hard to pick your favorite.
Yeah.
Parents, low-key, I know they have favorites. But they both had good points. They both had really compelling arguments to be on either side. And I hope they reconcile when Endgame comes out. Anyways, waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Where from?
IHOP.
IHOP. Wow, that was quick.
Yeah.
Okay, IHOP.
Or if I make them, because I make them at nighttime a lot.
Okay. Do you do the Kodiak cakes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Vanilla almond is the truth when it comes to Kodiak cakes.
Wow,
those
I haven't had that.
Bomb.
Okay.
Change your life.
Thank you. Right. Life hack for me.
What 3 books would you recommend to anyone listening? Just top 3 favorites, your go-tos.
The Bible, first of all.
Got 'em.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay.
And Start With Why.
Start With Why. Okay. I've read 2 out of 3 of those books. I need to pick up Rich Dad, Poor Dad now.
Yeah, it's a good one. That one changed my life. That makes you think in an entrepreneurial way.
Okay. Did it change your life more than the Bible? That's
Dang, dude, why you got to get me in trouble like that?
Hey, Jesus is watching. So this is more of a maybe thought-provoking one, but one historical figure agrees to be your mentor for 6 months. 6 months. Who is it, and what do you hope to learn from them?
Wow.
Right? You can't say Jesus. This isn't.
Yeah, I know. School. Yeah, because I think you're going to learn the most from Jesus.
Right. He knows everything.
Historical figure.
President, Confucius.
I know. I do read a lot of like old Japanese things, but I don't know. I think it would have to be like somebody who did something that wasn't being done, at that time, but it had to do with business because I like learning things like that. So like maybe like Henry Ford, somebody like that, where they just like had a mind for something that nowadays we just think is so like an assembly line. Like, yeah, that's the most efficient way to get something done. Just keep it moving through. But at the time, everybody was doing one specific, like the specific whole thing by themselves, and it was taking forever. And so for somebody to come up with something like that and then to actually implement it, that just inspires me big time. Because I don't know about you, but I get ideas, but implementing them is the next thing.
Dude, I got a plethora of stupid ideas, and I just don't know where to start with them. So
yeah,
I think this podcast is one of those stupid ideas, but we're doing it because I figured it out.
It's all good.
So, dude, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for humoring me.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for chatting.
It was
Hopefully
great.
this Delta thing takes off for you, and we'll keep up with you, and we'll check in and see how things are going in a few months. But
cool.
To y'all out there, if you're still with me, hopefully the cameras are still rolling. I don't know if they're still going.
That would be a
if
shame.
Not, there's going to be an audio link to the full audio. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. I'm really excited to finally do this. I said I wanted to start this back in July. I committed to it like months afterwards, and now here we are in March, and episode 1 is done. So
let's go.
We will keep going. I've got a few other people who are down to do this. I just have to commit and timestamp it and put them on the calendar. But till next time, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you. Peace.
Holla.